Hello, dear friends. I'm so excited and happy that you are here again. This month is month of October. Many exciting things happening, right? Fall is starting. And also, we are going to be talking about faith. That is a super cool theme. And faith is, I even wrote it on the back there so you can keep seeing it. To believe in God's presence and to hope. I know it's a hard word sometimes because it's hard to define, right? What is this faith thing about? But if I believe that God is present where I am right now, and I believe and hope for it, I have faith. Has any of you ever had to do like a big change in your life? Like to move from one place to another, from one city to another, or like me, from one country to another. Have you ever had to do that? Well, I chose to. So this is what we call a very old passport. It was done in the 90s, and it has I suppose some of you do have a passport. It has all my information, my name and my identification. This though is not valid because now I have a new passport and it's a blue one. But this one is my passport from Brazil because that's where I used to live. And then I came all the way across the ocean to live in the United States. Now that was a big change. So the story I'm gonna tell you today, and the people who I'm gonna talk about this month, is a couple who did a big move, a big change. Just like me, they moved from the place they knew about to a place they knew nothing about. And you know what moved them? Faith in God. They listened to what God had said to them, and they obey. They just thought, I feel the presence of God and I have faith and hope in God, so I will do what God asked me to do. Now, big changes aren't easy. Like for me, I didn't even speak the language of this country, which is English. So for me, I had to even get like a permission to come live here. But a little more about this later. Now, let's listen to our story today. And the story I'm going to read to you today, you can find in the Bible in the book of Genesis. Genesis 12, verses 1 to 9. And it is a story about Abraham and Sarah. Curious to hear about it? Okay, this is the story. Abraham and Sarah were living a good life in Haran, where their families had lived for generations. One day, God said to Abraham, "Leave your land, your family, and your father's household for the land that I will show you." God promised to make a great nation of Abraham, to bless him and to make him a blessing to others. Abraham and Sarah were faithful to God, so they went where God told them to go. They may have been scared, worried about what the new land would be like. They went anyway, because they wanted to please God by doing as God had told them to do. Their faith in God's promise gave them the courage to pack up and head off on a journey to the land that God promised them, the land of Canaan. And that's the story for today. Now, I wonder, have you ever moved like I asked you before? How did you feel? Yeah, because I know moving isn't easy. Moving, packing up all your belongings. We don't know how many belongings did Abraham and Sarah had, but They were older. They must have had a lot of stuff. God promised 3 things to Abraham. God promised Abraham that he would provide Abraham with a new land, a new place to live. He also promised Abraham that he'd give Abraham many descendants. And Abraham thought, seriously, I'm older. I don't have kids yet. How exactly? And he also promised Abraham that Abraham's family would be a blessing to other people. Those are pretty cool promises. And guess what? Spoiler for the next weeks. God kept all his promises. And they were only possible because Abraham and Sarah had faith. They knew God would be always with them. And they went with that belief, with the presence of God. Now, there are also many people who sometimes have to leave their homes because they are in danger or because of a natural disaster. And that is pretty sad, right? You sometimes lose everything you know. And you can't take anything with you, anything that made you feel secured or good. What can we do? Well, one thing for sure, we can always keep all those people in our prayers, all the people who suffer and have a hard time, who want to leave their country, their place of living, and come to another place where they feel secure and safe, or the people who live through natural disasters like a flood or hurricane, and they lose everything and they have to start again. For us to show our trust and love in God will help people too to feel the presence of God and the faith in God. What can we do? We can pray for them. So this is a little spiritual practice that you can do. You don't even have to tell anybody that you're doing. You can just breathe in and breathe out and say those words. And maybe you can try to do it 5 times. You know why? Because it really makes you calm down and feel the presence of God. So now I invite you to pray with me. God of guidance, help us always to have faith in you. Thank you for guiding and leading us to new and exciting places. And thank you for promise to be with us wherever we go. Amen. Remember to breathe. Remember that God is always with you, and that faith is what makes you move on. I wish you a wonderful week, and I hope you in your journey, even if it is moving something or not, or having to change something, that you can feel the presence of God, because God is with you. Have faith, believe in God's presence. Remember to do the breathing. That will also bring you to feel God's presence. Have an awesome week, and I see you next time. Blessings.